Hello, this is Rogue Mystic Divination, and for this weekend, instead of doing the individual assigned readings, we're just going to do a pick a pile for your next 72 hours. So, for the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Pile 1. Pile 2. And pile 3. So if you like these readings, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. I do daily, weekly, and monthly readings. I'm still in the process of working out exactly how I want to do them, but so far it's been by the sign for every day, every week, and every month. And then I also do collective readings. So hopefully you have picked your pile. And going to move on to pile 1 for your next 72 hours. First card is the Three of Pentacles. You may be working with someone this weekend. You may be working with a team of people toward a common goal. Make sure to remember that you're a part of a team and you do not need to shoulder all of the responsibility for this project. And you may actually be able to learn something from the people that you're working with. Do not count out their advice or their skill regardless of their age. They may also be bringing some skill or knowledge from another career field that they'll be able to make use of for this project and make it go a little bit quicker. You might actually end up ending early. But if that's the case, you're most likely being paid by the job, not by the hour, so that's a good thing. Make sure you utilize your passionate influence on the people that you're working with to motivate them. You may end up coming out from this project with more than wealth. Focus more on the connections that you build with your coworkers and your supervisors, etc. while you're working this weekend, because that may be what the greatest resource that you're gaining out of this. If you don't, however, put your focus onto what it is you're being paid to do this weekend, you will feel it, and you and your team may be called back to fix something for free because it's your fault that it failed. So be careful of rushing through things too quickly and screwing something up. If it seems like somebody else is doing that, then make sure you go and you double check their work, because you may be called to own up to the fault, especially if you are a supervisor. Okay, moving on to pile 2. Starting off with a lover, so you will have a choice. You will have a choice to work with someone this weekend and maybe form a relationship. This doesn't necessarily mean a romantic relationship. It could be a young family member, or possibly, if you have children, someone that your child is dating. You may end up meeting them this weekend. they're not someone that you would normally see your child with. Do not, or someone that you would see yourself dating. Do not count them out. Do not let your negative opinions of them or yourself or previous experiences color how you feel about this, because it could end up isolating you from your child and this relationship that they're trying to build with this person. Even if you have a younger teenage child, this could end up being someone that they end up marrying. So try to be as open as you can. It doesn't mean ignore red flags, but just know that if you put up a wall and you stick to negative connotations, then you'll be isolating yourself. And you may end up skipping out on some of their major life events if you don't rectify this within yourself. If this is outside of familial relationships, even if you strive to have harmony with co-workers and with other people you may come in contact with, if it doesn't work out at first, there's nothing wrong with drawing back and working on yourself or working on something privately. If you have an art project you've been meaning to get to or something creative, this would be a good weekend to focus on it. Do not be afraid to look at it from multiple perspectives either. You may end up finding another craft that could add something valuable to this new project of yours that you're working with on your own. Ensure that you utilize the internet and other ways to communicate this weekend, because if you get lost or stuck on this project, you could end up going to a bad place within yourself. But if you reach out for answers, that won't be a problem. That doesn't mean you need to directly communicate with someone, but you can look out for other sources of inspiration. Pile 3. You may have a decision that you don't want to make this weekend, Pile 3. You may have seen one road as opening up your world and give you a plethora of opportunities. However, someone may be standing in the way of you making this decision. There may be a sudden responsibility that's thrust upon your shoulders, so consider what the result would be if you didn't take on this responsibility that someone else is saying is yours. This could just be someone that is overwhelmed themselves and is trying to thrust their responsibility on you. And it may end up being for longer than you believe it will be. They'll say it's for the weekend, but then it ends up being for 2 weeks. This could have something to do with a child, but it likely won't be a permanent situation. Seems like it's something that just needs to be worked out, and it shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 weeks. However, it's not something that you're anticipating. The other choice that you have is to completely and totally choose yourself and withdraw from all relationships, but later on you will feel guilty about that, and you will feel closed off from that part of the world, and you will feel guilty for choosing this openness and this path of possibility that you first chose. So even though this responsibility is not your first choice and it's not what you want to choose, you do have to weigh the pros and cons of this before you say no. And ensure that you're taking into account all of the information that's being given and try and read between the lines as much as you can. Whenever someone says something vague about what they're doing or what needs to be done, ask for clarification. Ask for dates, ask for times, ask for paperwork, phone numbers. Make sure you have all the information that you're going to need in case of an emergency, because it's likely that one will pop up probably late Saturday or Sunday. If you do take this responsibility over just going off on what your original plan was this weekend, it's likely that you won't necessarily build a relationship with the person whose responsibility you're taking over, but this responsibility as a child, that will end up being a long-term relationship that you carry on communication for years, probably for the rest of your life, which will surprise both of you. And the person who you're taking care of them over from, you're likely to lose connection with within the next year or two. So not because anything bad happens, but just because you lose touch and you don't see any point in opening that door back up. But you will still continue to have communication with the child. Do your best not to be dependent on others for their opinions. If you're indecisive or you're anxious, understand why you're indecisive or anxious. Get to the root of the problem instead of wondering why is it you're feeling this way and allowing the anxiety and fear to take over. If you find yourself dependent on other people, try and understand why it is that you got there. And try and find ways to become more independent and pull away. And that is it for pile 3. And remember, like and comment and share and subscribe and all the stuff, and have a good weekend.